Imagine this: a charming cobblestone street in Prague, a bustling market in Krakow, or the quiet allure of a Romanian village. Now picture yourself, smiling as you stroll alongside companions decades younger. Why are these men flocking to Eastern Europe, and what draws them to these countries for love and happiness? What's really happening here? Is it just the affordability, or is there something deeper, a cultural harmony that Western men struggle to find back home? And what does this say about relationships, modern dating, and societal values on both sides of the globe? Eastern Europe has become more than just a tourist destination for older Western men. It's a second chance at life, love, and companionship. The region offers a unique blend of old-world charm, affordability, and traditional values that seem to align with the desires of this demographic. From Hungary's thermal baths to Ukraine's vibrant nightlife, this part of the world seems to promise something the West no longer does. By the end of this video, you'll uncover the untold truth behind this growing trend, and maybe even re-examine your views on love, culture, and the human search for connection. Let's dive in. The appeal of Eastern Europe. Imagine this: a candlelit dinner in Budapest, where the cost of a full gourmet experience is a fraction of what it might be in New York or London. For many Western men, the affordability of Eastern Europe is not just a practical advantage. It's a gateway to a lifestyle they believed was out of reach. With rising living costs back home, many feel they've been priced out of enjoying life's simple pleasures. Here, though, everything feels possible. Take housing, for example. In cities like Prague or Krakow, a comfortable, modern apartment in the heart of the city often costs less than a cramped studio in most Western metropolises. Dining out becomes a regular activity rather than a rare indulgence. Cultural events, such as attending the opera or visiting art galleries, are suddenly within reach. Even weekend getaways to neighboring countries, whether it's skiing in the Slovak mountains or lounging by the Adriatic in Croatia, are affordable and accessible. For those on fixed incomes like retirees or for digital nomads earning in foreign currencies, this shift in financial freedom opens up opportunities they never thought they'd experience. And it's not just about financial relief. What affordability really brings is freedom. Freedom to travel, to explore, to enjoy life in a way that feels fulfilling. Imagine planning a spontaneous getaway to the Carpathian Mountains, enjoying live music in a cozy cafe, or simply savoring the richness of everyday life without worrying about costs. These are the small joys that add up to something greater, a sense of peace and opportunity. Eastern Europe isn't just about stretching your budget. It's a region steeped in culture and tradition, where old-world values meet modern aspirations. For many Western men, this cultural blend feels like the missing piece of a puzzle. Back home, they may have struggled with a dating culture that often feels fast-paced and transactional. In Eastern Europe, relationships are approached with sincerity and an emphasis on long-term commitment. There's a focus on family, loyalty, and respect, values that resonate deeply with those searching for meaningful connections. This doesn't mean Eastern Europe is stuck in the past. On the contrary, cities like Warsaw and Sofia are thriving modern hubs with vibrant nightlife, international communities, and cutting-edge industries. The region strikes a rare balance, the charm of tradition paired with the excitement of modernity. Where else can you enjoy a night at a world-class opera house and then grab a drink at a trendy rooftop bar overlooking centuries-old architecture? And then there's the people. Women in Eastern Europe, in particular, are often celebrated for their elegance, education, and confidence. They balance professional ambition with a deep appreciation for family life, embodying a combination that's increasingly rare in other parts of the world. For Western men who value independence and intimacy in equal measure, these qualities make Eastern European women especially appealing. It's not surprising that so many find themselves drawn not just to the beauty of the region, but to the warmth and authenticity of the people who call it home. Beyond the cities and relationships, the region's natural beauty is simply breathtaking. From the rolling vineyards of Hungary to the tranquil beaches of Bulgaria, Eastern Europe offers something for everyone. Picture waking up in a quiet village in Transylvania, surrounded by misty forests and towering mountains, or strolling along the cobblestone streets of Tallinn, where medieval charm meets modern sophistication. These are the moments that make life feel full of adventure and possibility. For many, the slower pace of life is just as alluring as the scenery. In rural areas especially, there's a refreshing connection to the land, to tradition, and to community that contrasts sharply with the hustle and bustle of Western cities. Meals are savored, not rushed. Conversations are meaningful, not superficial. Life is lived with intention, and that slower rhythm can be transformative for those who embrace it. What surprises many Western men is how quickly they feel at home in Eastern Europe. Communities here are often welcoming, eager to share their traditions and hospitality. From being invited to village festivals to forming friendships over shared meals, the connections forged here feel genuine and lasting. Many expats recount stories of being welcomed as if they were family, finding a sense of purpose and belonging that had been missing in their lives. For those who embrace this new chapter, Eastern Europe becomes more than just a destination. It becomes a sanctuary, a place where they can thrive. The affordability, the culture, the natural beauty, it all combines to create a sense of possibility and renewal. For many Western men, it's not just a place to live. It's a place to rediscover joy, purpose, and connection. If you've ever dreamed of starting over in a place where life feels rich in experiences and full of warmth, Eastern Europe might just hold the answer. Are you intrigued by why so many Western men are drawn to Eastern Europe for love and connection? It's not just about the cost of living. There's a deeper story here. Don't miss what comes next, where we dive into the personal experiences and challenges these men face. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe to keep exploring stories like this. Older Western men's perspectives. Why would an older man pack his bags, leave behind everything familiar, and start a new life in Eastern Europe? The answer lies in deeply personal stories of rediscovery. For many Western men, the move isn't just about finding love. It's about reclaiming purpose, belonging, and a sense of adventure. These men aren't running away from their past. They're running toward a future filled with possibility. For some, the motivation begins with a sense of disconnection back home. Western societies often emphasize youth, productivity, and independence, leaving older men feeling invisible. "I felt like I didn't matter anymore," recalls John, a 57-year-old retired engineer. "Dating apps were the worst. I'd swipe for hours and get nowhere. It was like no one cared about the person behind the profile." The alienation extends beyond dating. In many Western countries, social isolation is a growing problem, particularly for older adults. Communities feel fragmented, and relationships often seem transactional. "It felt like everything was about what you could offer, not who you were," John adds. "I wanted to live somewhere that valued people over appearances." In Eastern Europe, many men find what they've been longing for, a culture rooted in connection. Unlike the individualistic mindset common in the West, life here revolves around relationships, family, and community. "When I moved to a small town in Poland, the first thing my neighbor did was invite me over for tea," says Michael, a retired architect. "I was shocked. I'd lived in the same house for 15 years in Canada and barely knew my neighbors." This sense of belonging extends to the smallest moments, like greeting shopkeepers by name or sharing meals with new friends. For Michael, these interactions were transformative. "It wasn't about big gestures," he explains. "It was about the everyday kindnesses, the things that remind you you're part of something bigger." For others, the appeal of Eastern Europe is intertwined with the thrill of starting fresh. "Every day feels like an adventure," says Mark, a 58-year-old expat in Romania. "I've explored castles I'd only read about, learned to cook dishes I can't even pronounce, and gotten lost in places that turned into new favorites. It keeps life exciting." Part of the adventure lies in adapting to the differences. Language barriers are a common challenge, particularly in rural areas where English is less widely spoken. "Learning Ukrainian was one of the hardest things I've done," Michael admits. "But it's also one of the most rewarding. People really appreciate the effort, and it's opened so many doors for me." Beyond the language, cultural differences require patience and flexibility. Relationships, for example, often operate within a framework of traditions that may feel unfamiliar. "I was used to a very independent lifestyle," says Paul, who married a Ukrainian woman. "But here, family is everything. It took me a while to adjust to the idea that every Sunday was spent with her parents." Despite these adjustments, most men describe their relationships as deeply fulfilling. Eastern European women are often praised for their blend of modern ambition and traditional values. "My wife is strong and independent, but she also values the little things, like sitting down for dinner together or taking walks after meals," Paul explains. She's taught me to slow down and enjoy life. For many, the slower pace of life in Eastern Europe is a revelation. After years of high-pressure jobs and relentless schedules, they discover a rhythm that feels more sustainable. In the US, I was always rushing, Mark reflects. Here, I've learned to savor the moment, whether it's enjoying a cup of coffee or having a long conversation with a friend. This slower pace often leads to deeper self-reflection. Many men find that their time in Eastern Europe helps them rediscover passions or develop new ones. Some start small businesses, while others volunteer or teach. I began teaching English at a local school, says Michael. It wasn't something I'd planned, but it gave me a way to contribute and connect with the community. Of course, the move isn't without its challenges. Bureaucratic systems can be frustrating, particularly for those accustomed to the efficiency of Western countries. It took me weeks to sort out my residency paperwork, John recalls. But you learn to laugh about it and adapt. Financially, many find that their pensions or savings stretch much further in Eastern Europe, allowing for a comfortable lifestyle. I live better here on a modest retirement income than I ever did back home, Michael says. It's not just about the cost, it's about the quality of life. For those considering a similar move, these men offer a common piece of advice. Come with an open heart and a willingness to adapt. It's not about recreating your old life in a new place, Paul explains. It's about embracing something different. Ultimately, these stories reveal a profound truth. The decision to move to Eastern Europe is rarely about escape. It's about transformation. For John, Michael, Mark, and countless others, it's a journey of rediscovery, filled with moments of connection, growth, and joy. Whether it's through relationships, community, or the simple pleasures of everyday life, Eastern Europe offers something they'd long been searching for: a sense of home. What would you do if moving to a new country gave you a second chance at love and life? The personal journeys we've explored so far are just the beginning. Stay tuned, because next, we'll uncover the unique challenges and unexpected rewards of cross-cultural relationships. If this resonates with you, leave a comment below and subscribe to join the conversation. Challenges and realities of cross-cultural relationships. Cross-cultural relationships are uniquely rewarding, but also present distinct challenges. For many Western men entering partnerships in Eastern Europe, these dynamics are both eye-opening and transformative. While cultural differences often require patience and adaptability, they also create opportunities for growth and a deeper understanding of love and connection. Family ties. The heart of Eastern European life, family, is the cornerstone of Eastern European culture, often taking precedence over individual ambitions. For Western men, this closeness can feel both inspiring and overwhelming. My wife calls her mom every single day, says Mark, who married a Romanian woman. At first, I couldn't understand why they needed to talk so often, but now I see it as an amazing bond. This emphasis on family often extends into daily life and decision-making. Unlike Western cultures that prioritize independence, Eastern Europeans frequently consult their families on major choices. Her parents were involved in everything, shares John, who married a Ukrainian woman. From helping us find an apartment to suggesting names for our baby. It felt like too much at first, but I've grown to appreciate their input. For many men, this dynamic also shapes how roles are distributed in the relationship. While modernization has brought greater equality, traditional gender roles remain influential. My wife is a doctor, but she still insists on cooking and keeping the house in order, says Peter, who lives in Ukraine. Meanwhile, I'm expected to handle repairs and financial decisions. It's different from what I'm used to, but it works for us. Communication. The bridge between cultures. Communication is often the biggest hurdle in cross-cultural relationships, not just because of language barriers, but also due to differences in how emotions and expectations are expressed. My wife is very subtle, says Paul, who married a Bulgarian woman. She won't directly say she's upset. Instead, I have to notice little things, like her tone or body language. Language differences can lead to humorous misunderstandings, but also moments of frustration. I remember arguing about something small, and it turned out she just didn't understand the phrase I used, says John. It taught me to slow down and be clearer in how I express myself. For many men, learning their partner's native language becomes a powerful way to strengthen the relationship. I started learning Polish, not just to communicate better, but to show her family that I respect their culture, Mark explains. It was hard at first, but the effort meant a lot to them. Immersing in traditions and celebrations. Eastern Europe's rich traditions are a central part of life, offering Western men a unique window into their partner's culture. From Orthodox Christmas to harvest festivals, the region is filled with customs that are both fascinating and unfamiliar. My first Orthodox Christmas was magical, says Michael, a retired expat living in Romania. We painted eggs, attended a midnight church service, and shared a massive feast. It was unlike anything I'd experienced before. Celebrations like name days, special days honoring the saint associated with a person's name, can be a delightful surprise for newcomers. I didn't even know name days were a thing until my wife explained them. Mark laughs. Now I look forward to celebrating hers every year. Participating in these traditions often involves learning and adapting. Her family has a ritual for every holiday, Michael explains. At first, I felt out of place, but now I love being part of it. It's helped me connect with her family in a deeper way. Financial and social dynamics. In many Eastern European cultures, men are often seen as providers, a role that can influence relationship dynamics. While many women are financially independent, societal norms sometimes place greater financial responsibility on men. There's an unspoken expectation that I'll cover most of the expenses, says Peter. It's not something we argue about, but it's different from how things worked in my previous relationships. Social norms also differ in subtle ways. Public displays of affection, for instance, are more common and celebrated in Eastern Europe. I wasn't used to holding hands or kissing in public, says John. But here, it's a natural way to show love. I've come to appreciate how open people are about their feelings. Navigating extended families. In Eastern Europe, extended families play an active role in a couple's life, often providing emotional and practical support. This involvement can be a significant adjustment for Western men accustomed to more independent lifestyles. Her parents visit us almost every week, says Paul. At first, I found it overwhelming, but over time, I realized how much they genuinely care about our well-being. Multi-generational living is also common, with parents or grandparents sometimes living in the same household. While this arrangement can be challenging, it often fosters strong bonds and a sense of community. Having her mom around has been a blessing, Mark says. She helps with the kids and makes sure we never run out of home-cooked meals. Adapting through challenges. Despite the differences, many couples find that navigating these challenges strengthens their bond. The process of understanding and embracing each other's cultures fosters mutual respect and growth. We've both had to make compromises, Peter explains. It's not always easy, but it's made us closer as a couple. Cross-cultural relationships also require a willingness to let go of preconceived notions. I've learned that there's no single right way to do things, Michael reflects. Her perspective has taught me to see the world differently. For some, these relationships become a transformative journey. Building a life together has been the most rewarding experience of my life, says John. It's about creating something new, something that combines the best of both our worlds. The rewards of cross-cultural love. At their core, cross-cultural relationships offer a chance to grow in ways that wouldn't be possible in a more familiar context. Every day is a learning experience, Paul shares. Whether it's navigating a cultural misunderstanding or sharing a new tradition, it's all part of the adventure. Ultimately, these relationships thrive on open-mindedness, patience, and a shared commitment to building a life together. It's not always easy, Mark concludes, but the rewards are worth it. I've gained a partner, a family, and a deeper understanding of myself. Are you curious about exploring the possibilities of dating and living abroad but don't know where to start? I've created a comprehensive guide to help you navigate this exciting journey. Inside, you'll find tips on choosing the right destination, budgeting for your new lifestyle, and understanding the cultural dynamics of living overseas. Download your free copy of Getting Started with International Living now and take the first step toward discovering a whole new world of opportunities. The link is in the description. Don't miss it. Why this trend reflects broader social shifts. The increasing trend of Western men finding love and fulfillment in Eastern Europe is not just a personal phenomenon. It reflects broader societal shifts. From changing cultural values to economic realities, this pattern sheds light on deeper aspects of modern relationships and the evolving dynamics of globalization. Modern Western societies, with their focus on individualism and career-driven lifestyles, often leave people feeling isolated. Many older men describe a lack of meaningful connections in their home countries, exacerbated by the rise of technology and the fast pace of urban life. Peter, a retired professional now living in Budapest, shared how relationships back home felt transactional, saying, "Even connections with friends and partners seemed more about convenience than genuine care. It's like everyone was rushing, and no one had time to truly listen or connect." Eastern Europe, by contrast, offers a slower pace of life where family and community take center stage. For men like Peter, this cultural emphasis on building and nurturing relationships aligns with their desire for more meaningful partnerships. He explained how people in his new community take the time to sit down, share meals, and really get to know one another. "It's a refreshing change from the anonymity and hurried lifestyle I left behind," he said. One of the most appealing aspects of life in Eastern Europe is the balance between traditional and modern values. Many Western men express frustration with dating cultures in their home countries, where independence and casual relationships often dominate. John, a 57-year-old now living in Poland, reflected on his past experiences, saying, "It felt like people were afraid to commit. Everyone seemed so focused on their individual lives that building something together felt impossible." In Eastern Europe, however, relationships are often built on trust and loyalty, blending the modern aspirations of ambitious, independent women with a shared value for family and long-term commitment. John described his wife as a woman with big career dreams, but also a strong desire to create a stable, loving family, a combination he found deeply inspiring. Economic realities also play a role in this trend. For many Western men, the cost of living in Eastern Europe is significantly lower, allowing for a comfortable lifestyle on retirement savings or modest incomes. Michael, who retired to Ukraine, shared how his pension stretched much further there than it ever could in the United States. "Back home, I was barely scraping by," he said. "Here, I can afford to travel, enjoy nice dinners, and live without constantly worrying about money." Economic factors sometimes influence relationships as well, though these dynamics are often misunderstood. While the financial stability of Western men can be attractive to women from regions with limited opportunities, these partnerships are rarely as transactional as stereotypes suggest. Anna, a Ukrainian woman married to an American, explained that it's not about wealth, but about building a secure future together. "His stability allows us to focus on what we want as a family, without the constant stress of financial uncertainty," she said. Globalization has also played a significant role in fostering these cross-cultural relationships. Travel has become more accessible, and digital platforms connect people across continents like never before. Paul, who now lives in Sofia with his Bulgarian wife, shared how they met on a language exchange app. What started as casual conversations about their cultures turned into a deep connection. For couples like Paul and his wife, these relationships are also opportunities for cultural exchange, as both partners adapt to each other's traditions. Peter shared how he's embraced his wife's love for large family gatherings, while she's learned to appreciate his need for occasional solitude. "It's not about one person changing for the other," he explained. "It's about blending our lives and creating something new together." This trend also reflects shifting gender dynamics in both the West and Eastern Europe. In Western societies, traditional roles have evolved significantly, sometimes leading to confusion about expectations in relationships. Mark, now married to a Romanian woman, explained how he struggled to understand where he fit into modern relationships back home. "I felt like I didn't know what was expected of me," he said. "But here, there's a clear sense of partnership and mutual respect that I hadn't experienced before." Eastern Europe, too, is changing, as younger generations embrace modern ideas while holding on to cultural traditions. Anna explained this balance, saying, "We value our heritage, but we also want to grow and adapt to the modern world." Media portrayals often contribute to how Eastern Europe is perceived as a destination for love and opportunity. While some narratives oversimplify these relationships, they highlight genuine aspects of the region's appeal. Paul noted how people back home often joked about mail-order brides when he first told them about his wife. "They assumed it was all about convenience or stereotypes," he said. "But once they visited and saw our life together, they understood it was about love, shared values, and mutual respect." For many couples, dispelling these stereotypes becomes part of their journey. John shared how friends who initially questioned his decision to move to Poland were amazed at the life he built with his wife. "They saw how happy we are and how much effort we've put into understanding and supporting each other," he said. "It's not about cliches, it's about building a meaningful partnership." This growing trend highlights how the search for love, belonging, and stability transcends borders. It's a testament to the universal human desire for connection and the power of embracing cultural differences to create something truly special. This growing trend of Western men finding love and fulfillment in Eastern Europe is about more than individual choices. It reflects a universal human desire for connection, stability, and meaning. For those who embark on this journey, it's not just about starting a relationship. It's about embracing a new culture, learning from differences, and discovering a shared vision for the future. What these stories reveal is the beauty of blending traditions, values, and aspirations from different worlds. They challenge stereotypes and redefine what it means to find happiness in a globalized era. Whether it's navigating language barriers, adapting to new family dynamics, or rediscovering the importance of community, these couples show that love is about growth, mutual respect, and resilience. As the world becomes more interconnected, these cross-cultural relationships remind us of the power of understanding and the limitless possibilities that come when we open ourselves to new experiences. For Western men and Eastern European women alike, these partnerships aren't just unions. They're bridges between two lives, built on trust, hope, and a commitment to creating something extraordinary. Cross-cultural relationships might not always be easy, but they teach us the value of patience, understanding, and compromise. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.